Busking has changed massively in this new age of technology. In recent weeks, I heard this clip of comedian Vittorio Angeloni talking on a podcast. And in it, he talks about buskers and how much he hates the new direction in which busking is going. Have a listen.
Since when were buskers allowed to have amps and microphones? Am I imagining a time where it used to just be a fella with a guitar, like singing quite loudly over the guitar? None of it was amped up. None of it had a speaker. They were just singing, and that was kind of, you're allowed to make noise with your voice on the street. But now every single busker is amplified to the point where you can hear them from the other side of town. Yeah. That should be illegal. You can't make that much noise. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's loop pedals as well. They've also got the thing with that little kick drum where they make it sound like, the Ed Sheeran principle of making it sound. And they take contactless, which I understand, but no one's got cash anymore. Now you sort of think, I'm not even sure that busking is the main gig here. I think this is for content. That's what I think.
It is. It absolutely
You're looking for the tripod of them filming themselves.
And they're hoping beyond hope that somebody comes up and punches them, because then they'll go viral.
This is exactly what this podcast is about. Punching down on buskers. I feel like
they've had it too good for too long.
Today, I've got something a bit different for you. It's 3 a.m. on a cold December day, and I'm about to jump into my car and head down to my mate Niall's house. And that's because today we're going to be doing the Dublin Christmas Busking Challenge. Okay, it's now 4 a.m. and I'm here at Niall's gaff. We're off to the airport next, from which we're flying to Dublin City. And here's why we're doing it. So Niall, over here, reckons Dublin is the best city in the world for buskers. The busking scene in England has been rubbish since I can remember, but Niall reckons Dublin is so good that we can fly out there, stay the night, busk, and potentially earn enough money to cover all our costs. So that's what we're trying to do today. We're off now in Niall's kick-ass Tesla to Leeds Bradford Airport, and I've got to get me one of these. And here we are. It's now around about 5 a.m. and it's raining. Even though we are headed off to the Emerald Isle, I'm not taking my loud and acoustic guitar with me. Basically because it's so expensive and precious, and I would be gutted if it got damaged or rained on. So instead, I'm bringing this with me. It's a Canadian guitar, a Seagull cedarwood acoustic. So here we are, me and Niall's just waiting for that bus over there. The weather today is supposed to be a little bit rainy up to 11 and then rainy from 4 onwards. So we've got about a 5-hour window where we're going to try and get on Temple Bar or one of those roads and start the busking. In fact, according to the weather forecast, we were going to have 2 clear windows to try out our experiment. The first from 11 a.m. when busking is permitted up till about 4 when the rain would start, and we intended to go and do some old school unplugged acoustic busking in this window on Dublin's famous Grafton Street. And the second available slot was from 7 o'clock in the evening through till about 10, at which point we would then go to Temple Bar, where buskers are permitted but no amplification is allowed, so hopefully we would be amongst other unplugged buskers. So we're going to go get some breakfast, but for anyone who's interested in having a crack at this themselves, the busker's licence was incredibly cheap. For a visitor's 2-week permit, it cost me €10, so £8. And that's for busking without any amplification, so fully old school, which we're doing today. It's just me, the guitar and a guitar case. I've not even got a sign, and I've definitely not got one of those card swiping machines. We're just doing it fully old school to see how it goes. We had taken the cheapest flight on the cheapest day, which turned out to be the early hours of a Sunday morning. Dublin city bylaws allow buskers to start most days at 7 a.m, and they can continue until 11 p.m. Sunday, however, is the only day where you can't actually start until 11 a.m. So, as we had a bit of free time, we went to the Arlington, where I discovered what a white pudding was. That was immense.
Hello everybody on YouTube, I'm Carmel. How are you all? Take care, bye.
So we thought we were going for a cheap and cheerful hotel. It turns out we're staying somewhere like this. Somewhere as nice as this in England would cost an ungodly fortune. Here in Dublin, it's really not bad. And I've just discovered a really cool little piece of steampunk history. Check this out.
This is an old vintage coffee machine, and I think there's only a few in the world that actually still work, so it's interesting.
That is a working coffee machine. How cool is that? So it's about 11:15. I've bagged a spot here outside Bewley's because my great-great-granddad apparently founded that when it was Bewley's Oriental Carpets or something. Anyway, I have a family history with that place way back, so I'm playing outside it. The way it works on Grafton Street is you can play for 1 hour and it changes every hour on the hour. There's 5 main slots up and down the street, and because we got here a bit early, we've bagged one. But behind me you can see the gear of the next person who's already showed up and joined the queue to be on at 12. So this is the lovely lady who's on after me. What's your name again, sorry?
Kyla Bell.
Kyla Bell. And she's on next.
I'm Kyla Bell. Have you got the whole song?
Rock and roll.
Decided. You're going to have yours the next time you come back then.
I am. So it's getting really busy now. And I'm just standing here like a lemon for 10 minutes because I can't start until 11. For my set, I played songs that I've been playing live in English pubs for about 20 years. It was really good fun just playing and singing in the open air, but I quickly began to realise why buskers had adapted. I was literally the only busker on the street to be playing without amplification, and I was having to sing as loud as I could, and towards the end of my hour-long set, it was really taking a toll on my voice. I did make a reasonable amount of money for 11 o'clock on a Sunday as passers-by threw coins into the guitar case. But deep down I knew that the vast majority of people walking past probably had no cash on them anyway. And on the question of money, after 1 hour of busking the traditional way, my voice was quite burned out, and I realised that if I had a microphone, my voice easily could have withstood 3 or 4 sets, singing much more softly and thereby making more money.
It is good, but could be better because our friends down here are amped, that side, and at the top end of Grafton Street are amped. And basically, as you come to James, you're about 5 yards, well, 10 yards away because people are walking, talking, and you don't hear it until you're basically going past.
The first set on Grafton Street had actually been a success, but by old busking standards. By the end, we did make enough money for me and Niall to go down Temple Bar, where the beers are really expensive anyway, and have a couple of rounds of drinks. But of all the people who stopped to listen, I knew every single one of them had a bank card in their pocket, but probably almost none of them had coins. I didn't even have cash, so how could I expect them to? Back in the day, out busking, you were just hoping for what I got, which was just beer money. But after talking to some of the other musicians on the street that Sunday morning, we were able to confirm that on a good day, they weren't just making beer money, they were making hundreds and hundreds of euros a day. They were often making, on a nice sunny day where they did a couple of sets, more than you would make at the very best paid gigs as a covers artist. I went into this experiment with an open mind, and I really was starting to understand why things had changed. We're going to have a little break for a bit. Niall has told me I have to have a pint of Irish Guinness in here. This is the Temple Bar, so let's go in. But Temple Bar is not just a pub, it's one of the central tourist areas in Dublin, and it's an area where busking is allowed, but amplification is not. So our one chance to complete the Dublin Busking Christmas Challenge is to go to Temple Bar later on this evening when everyone is already ratted and in the spirit, as it starts getting dark and as more people are kind of getting into the party atmosphere, and also if we busk on Temple Bar, where everyone is acoustic and unplugged, we still might complete the challenge. The rain started on schedule around 4 o'clock, and we waited for it to pass, but unfortunately, it didn't go when we were hoping it would. So, unwilling to give up without a fight, I went out in the rain, hoping that the Irish weather gods might smile on me. Okay, it's getting dark, it's cold and rainy, but we're going to try again on Temple Bar. I've just spoke to some Irish coppers and they told me where I can go, so here we go. Unfortunately, however, the Irish weather gods were in no mood for mercy. And despite finding a sheltered spot where there were loads of people walking through, despite getting money in the case, the rain just kept getting heavier and heavier, and after a while we had no choice but to throw in the towel. It was actually going really well there. We were making some money and the rain just got worse and worse. You probably can't see it on camera right now, but it's bouncing down. And the guitar was running with water, so we've had to bin it off until the weather improves, if the weather improves. So I've put the guitar back in my room and just all we can do is wait for the weather to change really. And I'm walking through the bouncing rain back to the pub. By all accounts, you really can make a killing busking in Dublin, but it also seems there's a heck of a lot of variables that are completely out of the musician's control, the weather really being a major one. Whilst we were out on Grafton Street earlier, I got chatting to a bunch of the local musicians who regularly come here and busk, and they've said that if you hit it at the right time, and if you're amplified, you really can make an absolute fortune. You can make hundreds of euros a day. But I think that's one of the things that does limit what you can do if you're coming from outside. So if, like me, you've just got one day and you also are trying to keep your costs down by not bringing in a load of heavy amplification equipment, it's a lot harder. There's a lot that can go wrong. I think we're just going to go out on the piss for a little bit. We're in Dublin after all. Just look at the state of this.
Alright mate,
How's it going, mate?
you well?
How's it going yourself?
Yeah, good. Okay, I've been up since 3 and it's getting late and I'm bloody knackered. So look at this. Niall, what river's that? Liffey?
Yes.
That's the River Liffey. And over there is where we had breakfast. And we're just going to have a little ramble around the waterfront. I think, are we doing one more place?
One more pub.
One more pub and then I'm going to go to bed.
And then we're coming back.
Yeah. Alright, Niall! Well, I'm getting back to the hotel. I have never in my life been in a city with this much music, just everywhere. Every venue is just back-to-back musicians, like pub after pub after pub. Wall-to-wall musicians from 12 noon till 2:30 in the morning. Unbelievable. I am now pissed as a fart and going back to the hotel. I've lost track of how many drinks I've had. We should have brought amplification, that's it. And we got rained off, which was annoying. Next time we'll prepare better. You can't really break even on your costs if you're busking in Dublin properly acoustic. You can't really do it. But what if you're busking amplified in Dublin on a sunny day? That's the next test. Now, we could have gone back up to Grafton Street or into Temple Bar and tried again at night when everyone was pissed, and probably would have thrown more money in the guitar case, but unfortunately we were pissed as well, so what you gonna do? But I'll tell you what, Dublin is the best city for music I've ever been to in my life. Hands down, no competition. So Dublin, thank you very much. I'm going to sleep and I'm going home in the morning, but I will see you again very soon.
You have to kindly answer to someone, suitcases and happenings above your head. All come baggage, shake your bags and jackets, sing with yourself, seat in front of you. This for exceptions of emergency exit, these are row 1, row 2D, row 16 and row 7. Along the left hand ministry, so once again, all seatbelts are fastened, all large compartment left turning places must remain switched off until you have baggage under your seat. And all swallowed places must remain in flight mode, thank you.
So it seems that traditional unplugged busking just is not the norm anymore, even in Dublin, which I cannot dispute is the acoustic music capital of Europe. You can still get a little bit of change in your pocket, but you certainly can't pay for your trip, and no way can you earn anything close to what the amplified guys are earning. Traditional busking isn't dead though, it's just evolving into something new and frankly better. Teenagers and young people today trying to get somewhere in music have got so much stacked up against them. So I personally think that a new way for them to actually make decent money through music can only be a good thing. And as I mentioned in the video, the challenge is not yet actually over. Me and Niall are going to attempt to do it again, but this time we're going to do it 100% the new way. Next time we'll probably drive so we can take all the gear with us and just go on the ferry. We'll bring shelter in case the weather turns again. We'll do it with amplification and a mic. We'll do it with a social media sign and a card machine. Next time we will attempt the whole challenge but with the complete pro rig and see if we really can cover all our costs by doing so. The real challenge, however, it turns out, is managing to stay out of the pub long enough to actually earn any money. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time. And don't forget, me and my band are playing live in Newcastle this Friday, December the 6th, 2024. We're being supported by the brilliant Alation and Ben Harwood and his band, and the link to tickets is in the description. It's a small, intimate gig for the Christmas season, so I look forward to hopefully seeing you there.